This video is in affiliation with Collingwood Insurance, but more on that one later. I often get asked, what is the clutch bite point? So in this video, I'm going to explain exactly what the clutch bite point is and how you can find it without stalling. The clutch bite point refers to how high you need to lift the clutch to get the car moving. I'm going to demonstrate that now. So clutch down first gear and handbrake off. Then I'm going to add some gas. Now, as I lift the clutch up, nothing's going to happen to begin with. But when I reach the clutch bite point, the car will start moving. So I'm going to do that now, gradually and very slowly lifting the clutch. Nothing's happening, still nothing's happening, and it's starting to move. This is the clutch bite point. If you're learning a manual car and you struggle to find the clutch bite point, don't worry, you're not alone. But here are some tips to help you find it. Feel the vibrations of the car. That's my first tip. Whenever you get to the bite point, the seat's going to vibrate and the steering wheel's going to vibrate. It's going to be very subtle with how much it vibrates, and different cars are going to vibrate more than others, depends how refined they are. But in any car I've driven, I've always felt something as I've got to the bite point. So I'm going to give some gas now. Everything is vibrating. The seat is, steering wheel is, very subtly. It's there, but it's very subtle. But as I lift the clutch to the bite point, that vibration changes just that little bit. And you can't feel that obviously through the camera, but it is there. Next time you're trying to find the bite point, feel for it. Another obvious way to tell that you're at the bite point is the car starts moving. Of course, it's not going to happen if your handbrake's on, but the car will start moving as soon as you reach the bite point. Another way to know you're at the bite point is the sound of the engine changes. The tone of the engine goes down a little bit. I will show you that now, and I will give too many revs on purpose just so you can hear it through the microphone. So I'm going to give way too many revs. That'll do. Hopefully you can hear that. And as I lift the clutch to the bite point, you will hear those revs come down. See that? Or hear that? The revs definitely came down in pitch as I got to the bite point. And another way to tell is that you will see the revs go down on the tachometer, on the rev counter here. I don't recommend you look at that though, because you want to be looking around you before you move away. You don't want to be staring at your dials. Let's go back now, because there's actually a wall in front of me. And I'll do that again, but this time watch the revs. Watch how the revs dip as I find the bite point. I will give a normal amount of revs this time. You want between 1,000 and 2,000 RPM roughly. So I'll give 1,500-ish RPM, something like that. And as I lift the clutch to the bite point, you'll see that the revs do come down a little bit just as I get going. If your handbrake, also known as the parking brake, is on when you're trying to find the clutch bite point, you may notice that the front of the car will lift up a little bit and the back of the car will dip down a little bit, like this. That happens in front-wheel drive cars, but nearly all cars these days are front-wheel drive. I'll show you that now. So clutch down first gear, I'll leave the handbrake on, and you'll see, hopefully you'll see, the front of the car lift and the back of the car dip. Can you see that by using the background as a reference? I'm doing it quite harsh so you can really notice it change, but normally you'd do it more gently like this. And it's quite subtle. It did lift up at the front there, but in a very subtle way. I still get the difference in engine sound. The engine tone goes down. The revs go down as well. That's why the engine tone goes down, because the revs go down. And you still feel the vibrations through the seat and the steering wheel. And I use the vibrations to drive most cars. That's how I know when I'm at the bite point of a car. And I believe that's how most experienced drivers judge it. If they've designed a manual car that was so refined that you didn't feel anything at all, it would be quite hard to drive. I know there are very refined cars out there, Rolls-Royce for example, but they're all automatic these days. The best tip I can give you is to pause once you get to the clutch bite point. So if you lift the clutch up, once the car starts moving, freeze both your feet. Freeze the gas, freeze the clutch. No more gas, no higher off the clutch. This will work really well if you're starting out. Then the car will start to accelerate. I will show you that now. So clutch down first gear, handbrake off, give it some gas, and when no one's coming, I'll find the bite point, and the car's starting to move. So now I'm keeping my feet still. I'm not adding more gas. I'm not lifting the clutch up anymore, and the car accelerated away nice and smoothly. However, it's very important not to rest your foot on the clutch indefinitely, because that will put extra strain on the clutch release bearing. So now I'm going to show you how to tell when you can come completely off the clutch. So I'll do what I did earlier again. First gear, handbrake off, a little bit of gas. When no one's coming, I lift the clutch to the bite point, there it is, holding the clutch steady, holding it steady. And when you hear the engine tone go up, like it is now, and the revs start to rise again, then you know you can come off the clutch completely. You can even just drop the clutch because it's finished doing its job by that point. Therefore, it doesn't matter how quickly you release it. Normally when I'm making a video, I do things in a more over-exaggerated way so you can see exactly what I'm doing. This time I'm going to move away normally like I would move away. You will notice I'll pause on the clutch bite point for a little bit of time, but not much time, because it never takes longer than 2 to 4 seconds for it to do its job. But when you're starting out, you're probably going to hold the clutch a lot longer before you notice and realise that, oh yes, I can come off it fully now. That doesn't matter too much because you're not putting any extra wear into the clutch. You're wearing the release bearing a little bit more, but that can go a long time. I actually have a video on clutch wear somewhere up there in the top right hand corner of your screen. Recommend you check that one out. So I'm going to move away normally now. Clutch down, first gear, handbrake off. We'll give a bit of gas. No one's coming. Lift the clutch to the bite point. Clutch sounds like it's done now, so come off the clutch. See, it didn't take long, but I just used that clutch to allow me to move away smoothly. Now I know what a lot of people are thinking, and a lot of people are already writing in the comments, RIP clutch. There goes that clutch. I hate to be that guy's clutch. Well, I've done a lot of experiments with clutch wear, and I can tell you, using the clutch to get the car moving away smoothly doesn't burn the clutch out. What burns the clutch out is giving lots of revs and lifting the clutch to the bite point with the handbrake on. That will wear the clutch out really quickly. Or using the clutch to stop you rolling back on a hill for periods of time longer than 3 or 4 seconds, then that will start to overheat the clutch. But the clutch is designed to take a certain amount of heat, and it's certainly designed to take enough heat to get the car moving. You're not going to wear the clutch much at all as long as you let the car move when you're at the bite point. So if you've got your handbrake on, or you're on uphill and you're holding the clutch on the bite point and the car's not moving, yes, it will overheat. But if the car is moving, the clutch and the engine flywheel will soon be the same speed, so there's little friction and little heat generated wearing the clutch. The clutch is designed to do that. If you try to avoid all clutch wear and get clutch wear down to 0 by coming off the clutch quickly, you will likely damage other parts of your transmission, for example your gearbox. And if you have a dual mass flywheel, you can damage that too. And you can also damage the damper mechanism within the friction plate of the clutch anyway, meaning you'd need a new clutch anyway. I actually did my own experiment in this car. I changed the clutch on 3 occasions every 40,000 miles just so I could analyse and see what damage had been done to my clutches with the methods I use to teach people to drive. And at every 40,000 mile interval, it had only worn the clutch usable material by 20%, which means that clutch, using that method, could have lasted 200,000 miles. And that's a lot longer than most cars last. I started to teach people to drive at the beginning of 2009, and I used to teach people to do a handbrake start every time they moved away. Not because I wanted to, but because that's how I was trained to teach people, and I thought that's how I had to teach people. And using that method, wore my clutches out in 40,000 miles. In 40,000 miles, the clutch was completely 100% worn down to the rivets. And when I used to do it that way, I also used to try not to let them pause on the bite point. I was like, come off the clutch, quick, quick, quick. Don't want to wear the clutch. In actual fact, doing the handbrake starts, wearing the clutch out, was doing all the wear. Holding the clutch on the bite point just to let the car get going smoothly is causing barely any wear at all. You can't completely get away with clutch wear. You can't get it down to 0. If you do that, you will damage other parts of your car, as I said earlier. It is a mildly sacrificial part, but if you look after it, it should last the life of a vehicle. Well, the normal life of a vehicle. Another thing I want to mention about teaching people to do handbrake starts every time, I found it took me a lot longer to teach people how to use the clutch because the car wouldn't move when they got to the bite point. So that connection in them didn't develop of lift the clutch up to the bite point to move the car. It took longer to develop. Not doing handbrake starts, I have found, has helped me teach people clutch control a lot more quickly. They found it a lot easier, and it's a lot better for my car too. And once they're good at moving away on a flat, then I take them to a hill to learn handbrake starts. Now I want to help you diagnose some of the problems you may have when learning to move a manual car. If you keep moving with a sudden thud or a jerk and you keep pushing people back in their seats and then making them lean forwards again, that means you're lifting the clutch up too much too soon. If you keep stalling, that means one of two things: not enough gas, or the clutch is coming up too high too soon. If you're kangarooing, now kangarooing is when the car sort of lurches up the road constantly like this, that's basically a stall, but not quite. You've nearly stalled. So the same thing is true. You need more gas, or maybe don't lift the clutch up quite as high. You nearly got it, but not quite. If you smell burning when you're moving away, that means you're giving too much gas. Avoid that. That will wear your clutch out very quickly. And if you're wheel spinning when you're moving away, which very rarely learners do, that means you're giving too much gas and lifting the clutch up too high. You may notice a pattern with the problems here: lifting the clutch up too much too soon. That's generally the cause of most problems. However, with experience, you won't have to lift the clutch slowly. So long as you stop at the bite point, you can lift it as quickly as you like to that bite point. I'll show you that now. So clutch down, first gear, handbrake off. I'll give it some gas. No one coming. Lift the clutch to the bite point quickly, holding at the bite point. Clutch is finished now, so I'm come off the clutch fully. Job done. And the more experienced you get, the quicker you'll be able to lift that clutch to that bite point. That's how experienced drivers can move away so quickly, if that's how you're wondering. But that does take time. Don't try and get to that standard right away. Give yourself time to build up your skill. Remember how many years the average driver on the road has. It's in multiples of 10 years, not hours. Something else I want to mention is a lot of cars, you don't actually have to add gas to lift the clutch up when you want to move. However, I recommend you learn to drive with adding gas and lifting the clutch up, because not all cars will move if you only lift the clutch. A lot of modern cars add gas for you if you lift the clutch, or if it's a very torquey engine like a diesel engine, it doesn't need to or have enough power to get you moving anyway. However, you're never going to start very quickly doing it that way, and you won't be able to drive all cars unless you learn the skill of adding gas and then lifting the clutch. It does take practice to get that right, and I recommend you practice that with a driving instructor, not on a busy hill in your first car when you're on your own. Well, I hope this video helps. If you think it does, please give the video a thumbs up and check out Collingwood and Confused in the description. Collingwood are great if you're learning to drive and want to insure yourself on a friend or family member's car, because you can do so without affecting their policy and risking their no claims bonus, which can reduce stress when you're learning to drive. At the moment, via the link, there's up to 35% off and a £20 Amazon gift card. Also, using that link does support this channel. There are long-term and short-term policies available, and if you choose a long-term, if it turns out to be cheaper, you can cancel it early if you need to and get a pro rata refund. If you want to compare many insurers, check out the link to confused.com. Confused compares many different insurers so that you can get the best price. You can also tailor your quote. So if you do a quote, you can then change things on that quote, like add additional drivers or take additional drivers off, and change your mileage or your excess to see what's cheaper for you. Using the link in the description does support this channel, so thank you very much. If you want my future videos, please subscribe, and until the next one, cheerio.